Hello, everyone. Good
Hello.
morning. This is Ria Luz of Buhay Buhay sa Amerika, and today I am so blessed to be with this wonderful women around me. Miss Glenda Lambert of the Global Women's Peace Network here in Arizona, our Global Women's Peace Network coordinator in Arizona, and our beautiful sister all the way from Europe, from Germany, Miss Ingrid Lindemann, sharing with us this dignity of women. And Glenda, please greet our audience today.
Hi, everyone. Uh, wherever country you're from, we are so excited having you here. And I'm not too sure what the background is, but I'm really sorry about that. But welcome again, and I can't wait to hear and have a conversation with Ingrid Lindemann, who is the co-founder of the Dignity of Project. Thank you, and welcome to our show.
Yes,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much, Glenn. I know that this project is very close to you. You spoke so much about this dignity project. And so maybe we can hear first from Ingrid to say hello. Ingrid, all the way from Germany.
Yeah, hello. I'm very happy to be with you, and it's a really big honor for me that you invited me. I'm really happy to be have this chance to share about a project which is really part of my heart. Thank you
Thank
so much.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. And uh, we are actually broadcasting live on three venues. As you know, Buhay Buhay sa Amerika is a radio show here in Arizona. And my name is Ria Luz. I'm the host. And Glenda is my very best sister and mentor who actually helped me in many times and many years for the Women's Federation for World Peace. So I really appreciate you, Glenda, and for
Thank you.
bringing this awareness to us. And as well as I said, we are live right now on Facebook, on YouTube, and for all my friends in YouTube and in Facebook, hello, and we welcome you on this beautiful celebration on dignity of women. So, Glenn, I know that many of your friends are also wanting to get connected. So, feel free to share the information to your friends in your contact in uh, YouTube. If you need to go share it to your friends, so I encourage also everyone, if you can share it to your Facebook wall or your YouTube community, so many more can learn about this dignity of women.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
are you
Awesome.
Yes, so are you ready to introduce more who
Of
is Ingrid
course.
Lindemann so we can hear what she's going to say?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ria. It's always such a pleasure to, work with you together. And you're such a gung ho lady. So I'm so grateful for your commitment, to the Buhay Buhay sa America show, but also your work as the Women's Federation, chairwoman. And I'm so grateful also for the fact that you, allow myself and Ingrid to be here on this incredible show to really talk about one important topic: strengthening the dignity of women. And so, on the behalf of Global Women's Peace Network Arizona, I really want to, you know, um, introduce Ingrid, because Ingrid is just an amazing woman. And I mean, you're going to hear from yourself, about Ingrid. But I just want to say that the Global Women Peace Network is a project of the Women's Federation. And the vision is to create a world of true love, harmony, and stability. So, in order to create that, such a vision, of course, the dignity of women is essential in creating such a culture of peace. So, when I met Ingrid, she was presenting in a women's federation on a webinar in the United Kingdom. And a friend of mine inspired me to follow. So I did that, and I was just blown away with her in-depth understanding of the dignity of women. I'm always saying about dignity is important, but she opened my eye completely to really understand what it really means to have dignity. Because dignity is not just for women; it is also within the man. We need to, bring it about. Also in our families, in our community, in our nation, our country, we have to really, really start thinking about our dignity there. So it's with a great joy that I want to introduce our very special guest speaker, Ingrid Lindemann. But before we're going to do that, let me just tell you a little bit more about Ingrid. So Ingrid is from Germany, which is in Europe, and she had many international experiences working with women and families. She is the co-founder of the Dignity Project in Germany. She worked as the Women's Federation for World Peace and was the president in Germany for almost 12 years. She's also the director of education of the Women's Federation in Europe. She's a lecturer, a journalist, a wife, a mother of 5 adult children, grandmother of 11 grandchildren, and also a sister and mentor to many other women. So she has also created 2 web pages, and these pages are all about women, dignity, reconciliation, and peace. So maybe at the end of our sharing, we can share those web pages with each one of you. So, Ingrid will be sharing something incredibly important, strengthening the dignity of women. And also, without any further ado, I want us to welcome Ingrid with a big hand. And we're looking forward to her presentation on this very important topic, strengthening the dignity of women. Here you
And
go, Ingrid.
welcome, Ingrid.
Okay.
The
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Glenda and Ria, for this wonderful introduction. Actually, there's a lot to say about dignity. So today, I actually every day I think about dignity, or preparing a lecture or something. I always discover something new. So it's a really, really big issue. Today, I chose to talk about one point, and that's about how to strengthen our personal feeling of dignity and how to live our life with the awareness of dignity every day. So I'm going to share a PowerPoint with you, so you can follow all what I say also by looking at something. Just a moment, please.
And so while Ingrid is actually preparing her PowerPoint, I'd like to just recognize the presence of all the friends who are listening to us. We got Kim Evans, who is very excited and inspired. And thank you so much, Kim Evans. Pumio Banal Berwer,
Another belt. Yeah.
friends. Rod's Doctor Strange, all the way from the Seattle or Oregon. Beautiful sister, and my brother Madman Bobo from YouTube, and Donna Martin. Thank you
Yes.
for inviting me. You all look beautiful. The world is becoming smaller thanks to you. Thank you so much, Donna. And Kim Evans says, "Well said, Glenda," and a great introduction. Great job, Glenn. And
You.
so, as now we are ready to listen to our beautiful sister, Ingrid Lindemann, let me add on her presentation. And so we are ready for it. And I'll remove ourselves, Glenn, to
Okay, I guess I can start. Is it, Ria? I'm very happy to be here. And I'm also very happy not that there are many ladies listening, but also gentlemen, because dignity is definitely a subject which belongs to all of us. However, if we look at today's society, we must say, sadly, that the way people relate to each other is far from living a life of dignity. Politicians discredit each other. The media are used for humiliation. We still have segregation, mobbing, and violence start in school and continue at work. Also, working with Women's Federation International, I've met many women from all different cultural, religious, and ethnic backgrounds. I've heard their testimonies of how their dignity was violated. I met women who suffered trafficking and forced prostitution. I listened to many stories of rape and sexual abuse being committed very often even by close family members. So I know even my mother told me that as a girl she was abused by a very close relative. Also, today we have still forced prostitution, trafficking, sexual violence at work, and domestic violence is a big problem nowadays in our society. All this is irreconcilable with the dignity and value of the human being. Today we attend this meeting in observance of the International Day of the Elimination of Violence Against Women on November 25th. So, how can you contribute to eliminate violence against women and also against men? We need a paradigm shift in our minds and in society. Creating awareness of human dignity is the foremost task to prevent violence. To create awareness of the importance of living a life of dignity, Blanche Wiesen Cook, the American author of 3 biographies of Eleanor Roosevelt, calls on us to achieve dignity for all. She believes that now is the time that the vision of Eleanor Roosevelt can be achieved. A culture of dignity for all is an important cornerstone for a peaceful society and world. So, how to create awareness of the importance of the life of dignity? We only can be authentic in our statements if we first work on the change in ourselves. Before we can talk to others, we must know dignity, how it feels in our own heart. Therefore, today I want to take this opportunity to talk about this. In order to set a common base, I first want to define what dignity means. There are many different interpretations and contemporary discussions. So let's look at dignity first from a historical and philosophical viewpoint. Dr. Mario Brandhorst, he is a university professor in Germany, defines 6 periods: ancient history, the rise of Christianity, medieval times, Renaissance, modern age, and the time after 1945. In ancient history, the term dignity was used only in connection with an official position, as privileges and expectations. Later on, the term dignity described the attitude of self-discipline and decency based on reason. So the teachings of Jesus and his disciples, and in early Christianity, man was considered to be created in the image of God, and the idea of fundamental equality of all humankind was born. This included the respect of dignity of others. In medieval times, dignity was mainly related to virtuousness. Therefore, dignity also could be lost through not virtuous or sinful behavior. Somebody who lost his dignity also lost all protection. That was the basis for the Inquisition and witch hunt and brought about the terrible burning of women who were considered witches. During the Renaissance, then, the free will was the main aspect of human dignity. In a speech, De Hominis Dignitate, which means about the dignity of the human being, the Renaissance philosopher Pico della Mirandola shows that man is free to determine his nature in accordance with his own will. Pico della Mirandola emphasized man's freedom and God-given ability to rise to the vision of the deepest secrets of the universe. Literally, he says, what an enormous and admirable happiness of the human being to whom it is given to have what he desires and to be what he wishes to be. In modern age, then, Immanuel Kant, the German philosopher, talked about the universal dignity within each human being. He said, each person honors the human dignity through her own person, has a right to receive respect from others for the said human dignity, and is in turn obliged to respect the human dignity in those nearest to him. This means it is important to grant dignity first to myself and to be free of any doubt concerning it. Dignity is defined as an immanent nature, an innate character of humans, independent from any other characteristics such as age, intelligence, ability, and gender. Then, after the Second World War, dignity was given great importance in the Declaration of Human Rights, which was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in Paris on December 10th, 1948. Then dignity became a common standard of achievements for all peoples and all nations. It sets out for the first time fundamental human rights to be universally protected. This declaration has been translated in over 500 languages. In the preamble, we read, whereas recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family is a foundation for freedom, justice, and peace in the world. And Article 1 says, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Next, let us look at the word dignity. In English, it's dignity, Spanish, dignidad, French, dignité. All these words come from the Latin word dignitas, which means worthiness. Also, in other languages, the word for dignity is connected to the meaning worth. In Germany, we say Würde, which comes from the old High German word Virdi, which also means worth. We all have this inherent nature in us. So what does science say about it? It's amazing to listen to the results of the recent studies by neuroscientists. They discovered that even the newborn child has a feeling for how it wants to be treated, what is good for them, worthy of a human being. Children, babies cry not only because they're hungry, but also if they feel lonely, not receiving the attention necessary. This neurobiological connection is already developing in the baby's brain before birth in the womb of the mother. Newborns have this inherent dignity as protection and later as compass for understanding what it means to be a human being. Given a good environment, this inner compass can later grow and turn to awareness of the internal dignity of this person. Therefore, dignity is our internal compass, helping us in a world of high demands and pressure to keep our identity as human beings and to know our worthiness. I feel that this is very hopeful, and it shows that no matter what happened in our life or what we did, no matter how our dignity was hurt, dignity is within us and can be awakened at any time. So let me summarize. Dignity is a human right of everybody. It is your and our inalienable value as human beings. Then dignity is inherent to us, part of us, as our internal compass, giving us orientation and helping us to keep our identity, remembering our value and making decisions. And dignity is a way of life. We honor our dignity by giving dignity to others. Dignity can only become alive in the relation of giving and receiving dignity. So, how can we relate to our personal dignity? It's always easy to relate to somebody if you know the name. So, let's give a name to our personal dignity. I will call it from now my dignity self. This expression is used by Gabriele Flick-Beer and Udo Beer, psychological therapists and authors of many specialist books. If you cannot relate to dignity self, you may use another name. For me, it's my inner queen dignity. But giving a name to our dignity is a first step to better connect with our dignity. Our dignity self needs all our attention if we want to create a culture of dignity. Many of us had debasing and degrading experiences in their lives, and thus our dignity self has been buried under lots of pain. If you want to strengthen our dignity self, the first step is understanding how our dignity self was hurt during our life. Many times we don't want to be reminded of those painful experiences, but sometimes feeling this pain again can be helpful to understand why and how our dignity self was hurt. And thus we can avoid similar experiences and strengthen our dignity self. Udo Bear and Gabriele Flick-Beer call these painful and experiences monster. Monsters are violence, physical and verbal violence, humiliation, degradation, and being ignored. Let me talk a little bit about them. Physical and verbal violence. Experiencing physical violence is the most degrading experience. Those of us who experience sexual violence carry the burden of this degradation throughout their lives. Physical punishment and being screamed at are further forms of violence which hurt our dignity self. If you experience these serious violations, like sexual abuse, rape, or domestic violence, you definitely will need professional support. And please do not hesitate to ask for help. But there is also silent violence through words and actions which undermines our feeling of worthiness. Maybe a child fell down, needs help, but is rejected with words like, "What the hell did you do again?" Maybe a child is not allowed to join a group of friends at school. Maybe there's mobbing at school. Later, you may be treated as a loser in your job, even though you did your very best. Maybe you are the only one not invited to a party of colleagues. Silent violence has many different faces, and we need to understand and recognize what is happening in order to protect our dignity self. Humiliation is not always given the importance it has in hurting our dignity self. Many times we are humiliated even by our partners or best friends. In Germany, there are explanations like, "Oh, typical woman. Only woman can be so stupid. This crazy driver must be a woman." Or, "Women always take so much time to get ready." I guess in the States and all the other countries you're listening from, you have similar expressions. Other humiliations are related to our external appearance, like she's too fat, too small, too tall, too skinny. Degradations are equally painful. You will never learn that, or you are always late, or no way you can do this, or you're too stupid. These sentences, repeated over and over again, can cause the loss of the feeling of self-worth. Other points are, if in your job you do not receive the promotion you were promised or you deserve, you feel degradation. And in a partnership, the partner who has been betrayed since a long time feels very painful degradation. The last point is being ignored. I was very moved when I first realized what this monster is all about. When a child cries, but nobody listens. When a child wants to be picked up, but nobody cares. When a child wants to be seen, but nobody looks. When a child needs support, but only receives scolding. When this happens again and again, the child feels being ignored and very, very lonely. This has an immense influence on his personality as an adult. Why did this realization move me to tears? My mother was extremely poor when I was born, and she had to give me away to an orphanage when I was 3 months old. Even though I had wonderful parents who adopted me, I still feel the cry, the desperation, and the loneliness and being ignored of the first days alone in the orphanage deep inside me. How much more suffering children go through who lost their parents through wars, children who are sold and trafficked and end up in forced prostitution, children who become soldiers. We must put an end to this suffering. But also as adults, we experience this monster of being ignored. When we need a shoulder to lean on, an ear to listen, a hug to feel loved, and our partner or best friend ignores our need, we feel deeply hurt and very lonely. This is a degradational experience, and it doesn't matter how old we are. Why did I talk so much about these monsters? Only when we know and realize that these monsters are hurting our dignity self, we can say, stop, and put an end to being degraded. So, what can I do to strengthen my dignity self? Let's first think about connecting with our dignity self and strengthening it is a process. This is a process of receiving appreciation and appreciating oneself. It's a process which takes time. Time is a gift. And let us make use of this gift and not be impatient with ourselves on the way to strengthen our dignity self. The other point is we are all different individuals with different experiences, backgrounds, and characters. Therefore, we all go through this process of strengthening our dignity self in a very different way. However, I believe some steps are important and may be helpful for most of us as milestones on our way to living our dignity. So I want to talk about those milestones. But before we start, I would like you, wherever you are now, to straighten up your body, push your shoulders back, and breathe a few times deeply and slowly. And be aware of how you feel. Can you feel your inner dignity self? The first milestone is perceiving and appreciating our feelings, our emotions, our thoughts, our pain, our joys, our fears, everything we do and what we also avoid doing, but without judging or categorizing. We will realize soon how many emotions and thoughts we repress of different reasons. But all feelings and thoughts belong to us and first need to be appreciated and taken care of. Repressing feelings and thoughts takes a lot of energy. Respecting our feelings and thoughts, even we may not like them or not agree with them, helps us to deal with them and to understand why we think or feel something. Sometimes our dignity self tries to get our attention by feelings and thoughts we don't understand. So, in communication with our dignity self, we may understand the reason in a better way. Later on, I will talk more about how to communicate, how to communicate with our dignity self. The next milestone is respecting ourselves. Please think about. There are many situations in daily life we may not respect ourselves without even noticing. Ask yourself, how do I react if I'm completely ignored? If someone is disrespectful or humiliates me? I give just a few examples. Maybe in a meeting, nobody listens to your opinion. Maybe a coffee you ordered in a coffee shop is cold because the waiter talked a long time to someone else on the way to your table. I remember a few days ago in the shop, a lady loudly told me to let her pass because she wanted to take my place waiting in line. So, how do I feel and how do I react? Do I shrink or can I ask for respect in a good and dignified way? Or another example, this happens very easily if you go to visit your family. How do you feel if someone treats you as a young girl you once were, even though by now you have accomplished so much in your life? This brings us to the next milestone, which I like to mention. Appreciate all you already have done in your life. Everyone has incredible achievements, but many times we are not aware of them. We often think that what we did is not worth to be appreciated. We think that we just did what had to be done, nothing special. A few months ago, I talked to my doctor because I felt exhausted, but I didn't really understand why I was exhausted. So he asked me, how many children do you have? I didn't understand his question because the children are all grown up. 4 of the 5 already have their own families. Also, the doctor knows the situation. So at some point I said, well, 5, because he insisted. And his reaction was, oh, well, and you don't know why you're exhausted? For me, having 5 children and helping them to grow up was never connected with the feeling of exhaustion. I enjoyed every moment with them. I did not think about or appreciate my effort and investment. Many times, also, when we receive compliments and appreciation, we feel uneasy and not worthy enough. That is a sign that we do not respect our own value, our accomplishments and efforts. So, please, everybody, sit down in a quiet moment and write down everything you already accomplished in your life and appreciate each effort, whether successful or not. Another milestone connected with this is our feeling of self-worth. This is not being arrogant. It is to be aware of our inherent worthiness as human beings. Religions call this our divinity, or being God's children. Philosophy calls it human dignity. We usually don't really think about our own value. How do you think about yourself? Most we feel that we did not meet standards asked for, or we doubt our capabilities, our beauty, internal and external, and our wisdom. Many times we define our values through our achievements, but self-worth is not depending on what we know, what we accomplished, what position we have, how much we earn, what car we have, or how others think about us. This kind of evaluation of who am I and not recognizing our uniqueness and the inherent nature of dignity is one of the problems why we cannot connect to our dignity self. Feeling our self-worth also gives us a capacity of valuing other people and discovering their inherent value. Self-esteem and feeling of self-worth only become alive at eye level with others. There's much more to discover about this point of our feeling of self-worth that would be worth a separate webinar on this point. Many times, and this is another very important point, we feel guilt even when we have been mistreated. So let go of feelings of guilt. Whatever has happened, it was not because of you that you were mistreated. Feelings of guilt leave no room for reflection and healing. They restrict us and put a burden on us. Actually, in Buddhism, the deep sympathy for us as human beings is a high aim and entails redemption. So, whatever happened in your past, feel empathy for yourself. Jesus told us to love ourselves. He said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Therefore, another milestone on the way strengthening our dignity is accepting myself daily with unconditional love. Get up each morning, look in the mirror, smile, and appreciate your beauty. Let your internal beauty shine. There is no other person like you. You are special. If we succeed to accept ourselves, we can live an authentic life. We don't need anymore to wear a mask or to play roles. Maybe as a child, we tried to be a good girl or boy in order to be loved. Oftentimes, as adults in our jobs, we accept difficulties in order to create a positive image. Maybe in friendships, we avoid saying our opinion not to lose a friend. Is this necessary? What is a friendship without being able to say your truth? Can you be happy in a job where you always must ignore your needs? Living authentically is an especially important milestone. A real friendship can deal with emotions and different opinions, and a job is only good when your needs are respected. Be yourself. You are unique. In our lives, we all experience situations when we reach limits. Exhaustion, stress, sleeplessness, illness pile on top of us. Yet how often do we go beyond these? From my own experience, I can say too often. Again and again, we just continue a small break, we pay a painkiller, and the show must go on. We pay all too high a price. What must happen before we will finally listen to our body and say no for once? We have to take care of our body and listen to his needs. That's another important milestone on the way to strengthen our dignity self. That means to develop a sense of our own needs. And that's not only physical needs, but also internal needs. And learn to say no. I myself still have to work on this, respecting my own limits and communicating them. For me, this is one of the most difficult milestones. But in the process, I learned that saying no to requests I cannot deal with straightens me up. And surprisingly, my no is always accepted, mostly even without explanation. Another very important point is letting go of our fear of failure. Many of us may have received the love they longed for as a child by presenting best results at school. This accompanies us throughout our lifetime. We feel our worth only through presenting best results. But our worthiness is not determined by perfect results. Our worthiness is inherent to us since the beginning of life. Therefore, no failure deprives us of our value. We easily forgive others, so let us also learn to forgive ourselves any mistakes or shortcomings. Only then we can turn the feeling of failure into a learning experience. So always remind yourself, you did the best you could. Another point is be friendly and polite to yourself. Are you surprised? Well, let us be honest. If we realize that we made a mistake, we often scold ourselves. Stupid me. I'm a complete failure. I'm an idiot. Or you look in the mirror in the morning and think, oh, I look terrible. Would you ever say this to somebody else? You won't. Why are you more friendly and polite to others than to yourself? I believe it's important to treat myself well in all aspects of life. I need to give to myself what I would, without any doubt, give to others. So, let us say stop. It's not easy to do. Also, I am still learning. Finally, I want you to take time, sit down, and write down all the special abilities you have. And don't hesitate, just write. And ask your dignity. Let your dignity self help you. You may ask, how can I communicate with my dignity self? How can I ask my dignity self? Well, every time we have to make a decision, we can listen into ourselves. We can ask our dignity self what would correspond to living a life of dignity. If somebody asks us to do something, we always can say that we need some time to decide. We do not need to answer any request immediately. Then we can think about it, and we can think about if what we want to do is really respecting our dignity. Is it what we are asked, what we really want to do? Does a request respect our privacy? Is it necessary to be done in the time frame established? Is it really for a purpose I support? Can I do what is asked for without an uneasy feeling? And does the request respect or hurt my dignity self? Our dignity self very often tries to get our attention by feelings and thoughts which we sometimes cannot understand at first. There might be some uneasiness after a conversation, a feeling of anger, sadness, frustration, or emptiness. If we try to communicate with our dignity self, we may find the reason for these feelings. Maybe our opinion was ignored. Maybe we experienced some subliminal humiliation or degradation. Maybe we weren't listened to. In the beginning of the process of connecting with and strengthening my dignity self, we might need something to remind us during our daily life not to forget our dignity self. In Germany, we say, I make a knot in my handkerchief if you want to remember something. Maybe a small stone in your pocket, maybe a note on your desk, maybe a meaningful picture on a shelf can help you to be more aware of your dignity self. So always let us keep our sense of dignity. No matter how others treat us, we should never feel we're a victim. Our inherent dignity is much stronger than any evaluation that anyone else may give us. We often have the tendency to be dependent on compliments from others. It is natural to receive and give appreciation to each other. But to do something only to receive appreciation is hurting our dignity self. I just want to remind you of women you may know, or girls, which are letting themselves misused by men, hoping to get love in return. We need not to be ashamed. It is our right to be appreciated. We can learn to become independent of the judgment of others, also by constantly affirming ourselves that we have dignity, that we are a human being with a unique value. Did you ever think that your life is your unique work of art? I did not allow myself to think about this for a long time. Often we feel that we have not done enough. Yes, that we have never given enough, no matter how much we gave. Through our activism, we shy away in the end from our spiritual creativity and our self-development. We ourselves are the ones to shape our lives, be co-creators of our own me. Discovery of our qualities, development of our talents requires our total concentration, our investment, and every new day is exciting and stimulating. Our life is our uniquely personal artwork. I'm sorry because time is too short today, so please take all these points just as an inspiration for your personal way to find and strengthen your dignity self. There's only one more point I'd like to mention. Dignity not only refers to myself, but also to everybody else. Dignity is always a way of life. By granting dignity to others, by respecting and valuing them, by feeling and expressing empathy. Each of the before mentioned aspects corresponds to our own attitude towards others. And only by combining both we can truly strengthen our dignity self. The aforementioned authors Gabriele Friedberg and Udo Bell had an idea I really liked. We can make a fan with the different aspects of my dignity self, of living our dignity. What you see there is a fan I created together with my grandchildren. A fan has an inside and an outside. The outside turns to the other people, the inside to me. On the outside, we write the aspects corresponding to our attitude to others. On the inside, the aspects corresponding to the attitude of ourselves. You can also use other forms. For example, you can make little notes with one aspect on each side and take one every day to work on. Important is to remind us that one aspect without the other does not strengthen our dignity self. Basically, it is what Jesus told us. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. One without the other doesn't work. So let's just have a look. Self-awareness is always connected with being aware of others. Self-esteem with esteem of others. If you take others seriously, you have to take yourself also seriously. If you regard others highly, you have also to work on your self-worthiness. Thinking of myself, taking care of myself, means thinking of others and helping others. Accept myself helps us to accept others. If I feel empathy for myself, I can be much easier empathetic for others. If I'm able to say no to requests, I also have to live solidarity. Respect myself, respect others. If I ask to be heard, I listen to others. If I'm friendly to myself, I'm friendly to others. Being polite to others means also to be polite to yourself. You may want to add more aspects to this list or feel that some of those aspects are not as important for you. So just create your personal way in the process of strengthening your dignity self. Once we have good communication with our dignity self, all that remains is to discover which strengths, dreams, abilities, and desires are within us. I call this the exploration of the aim of our soul. That means to give a deeper meaning to our life, apart from all the external responsibilities. When embarking on this, it's essential to take time. We will come to a more intimate acquaintance with our dignity self. The difference between what helps us and what, on the other hand, hinders us will be clearer to us. And in this process, it is important to recognize that even difficult situations can be of help. Some may be an important indication towards the need for a change in our concepts or way of thinking, not to impede our growth. Many happenings in our life serve our internal purpose, correspond to it, and further, often without us being aware of. In the very beginning, working to live with our dignity, we often suffocate our desires and visions with thoughts as, oh, I cannot do this anyway. I don't have time for this. This is not realistic. I'm not strong enough for this. Nobody will understand this. Nobody will accept me like this. We have experienced so many dismissals in our life. We have been hurt so frequently that unconsciously this became part of us. This is why we often don't realize what is the internal aim of our soul. So let us learn to desire. The greatest internal strength rises out of a personal vision. Visions, clear ideas, and wishes give us a courage and help us to overcome any external control. When you make your first step on the way to find your dignity self, you will feel support from within, and from a small beginning, undreamed results can develop. We can not even imagine what wonderful surprises life has in store for us. There is so much within you that urges to develop. Your dignity self wants to become visible. Dignity is a way of life and thus a cornerstone for a peaceful society and a peaceful world. Let us stand together for a future in dignity for our children and grandchildren. Visions and desires are like a fire within us. Let us keep it alight and let it burn brightly. Please remember that today's presentation only contains a few hints. There is so much more to discover. I wish you all the best on your way, strengthen your dignity self. Thank you so much for listening.
Powerful.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. And Glenn, I know that you have so much thing to um, feel and appreciate. And with this, I think you wanted to for us to hear this, right?
Yes.
Song. So as you're trying to feel all these beautiful nuggets of wisdom, we have a special surprise for you that
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Up. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I have to say, I am so taken by what you shared today, Ingrid. And I just wish, that I knew this 20 years ago. But thank you so much, Ingrid. I mean, there's so much that still people want to know about, but I want to leave it open. I don't know if there are any questions out there that
Yes.
people want to ask you or
I wanted to just point out what people are actually commenting. Just like Romina says, I'm in tears. I want to sing this to my future daughter. And
oh,
many people,
beautiful.
even Pomilo, says, wonderful message and nice music, beautiful. Yasmin Lambert, it's always wonderful to have more tools to better yourself in this world. Thank you, Ingrid. And
Yeah,
Ate Marietta Stay says, this is what I need. This is powerful. Thank you. I needed this. Powerful. And many others commented, and I just could not go back. But someone was asking if this is recorded. Yes, this is recorded, and you can actually continues to watch it on my Buhay Buhay sa Amerika YouTube, Facebook, and in Instagram. And Ingrid, thank you so much for this beautiful presentation. And I know, Glenda, you are in a rush to go in another place, but I happen to have this book, The Mother of Peace. And just before we start on our program, I actually read a message on her on page 39, and it says, every one of us needs to feel deeply grateful for being born. There is not one person whose birth is meaningless. Therefore, no person's life is his or hers alone. Heaven, earth, and all things in the universe interconnect through lines of latitude and longitude. Peace means that all the energies in the entire world and in the entire universe are in harmony. Therefore, no one should belittle his or her life. We should deeply realize that everyone is a precious being born through the sacred workings of the universe. And this
awesome.
is from The Mother of Peace, the memoir of Dr. Hak Jahan Moon,
Yep,
which is, I think, a very powerful tool as well for all of us to. And I encourage everyone to please read this book.
right.
Ingrid, thank you so much. We are,
Yes, yes.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Well,
are
we're gonna have some more follow-ups in the next year because so many things are happening in this month. The holidays and everything else. But this is definitely gonna be a next year topic where we're gonna have some more webinar series and we're gonna really talk a little bit more in depth because this is not just for women. It's also for men. It's also dignity in mental health, dignity in the community, dignity in your own country. So I think if we can really start thinking about this and the importance of this, then I think we can truly create an incredible culture of peace. And I
yes.
think that's what everybody really wants.
I, I wanted to promote that this is Glenda Lambert's project here in Arizona from the Women's Federation, the Global Women's Peace Network, which is also a Women's Federation for World Peace. And Glenda is so into this, passionate about sharing this dignity project here in Arizona. In fact, Glenda wishes to really promote this. And so follow Glenda's many live presentation. Glenda will start this beautiful dignity project here in Arizona. So Glenda,
Yeah,
we're looking forward for you to hear more about your presentation on this dignity project here. And I'm sure Ingrid will be coming back. There is many more that Ingrid, I just read your presentation on the Dignity Project. at the WFWP in Europe, Women's Federation for World Peace in Europe. And I encourage everyone, please go find this. Such a nugget of great wisdom is
Mm,
coming from this wonderful elder sister, Lindemann. And thank
yeah,
you, Linda, for bringing that to us. So,
yeah.
do you have anything else to share to us?
Can I share something quickly before
Yes,
I
sir.
go? Ingrid, there were 2 points that really got me what you said today. The first one is we are the co-creators of our own me. It is a
Yes.
powerful statement. And the second one that I really like is dignity is a way of life. Really,
Yes.
these are 2 points that I really, really want to almost like flesh it out a little bit more because it really is important for our young women, our young men, to really understand their value. I can see it being a teacher in school. I see how young men and women don't feel that they have value. So I'm so grateful for your hard work, your sweat, your tears, your everything to in order to create this project. And I'm so grateful that I was really guided to really meet you, to listen to your talk. So I'm really grateful also to Ria to want to do this show on her show. And I'm so grateful for everybody coming on and wanted to listen. But I hope we can continue to talk and continue what we
Yes.
need to do. Thank you so much, Ingrid and Ria. And it is all that I have to say for now. But I'm so,
Thank
so
you.
grateful. Thank you.
We've got sisters all the way from France, Donna Marti Jean, and Pumio. I could not pronounce her last name, but thank you so much, Ingrid. And we wanted to promote, if you wanted to buy this book, Mother of Peace. And as I was running in this banner, tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, December 5, the mother of peace, Dr. Hak Jahan Moon, is in America right now, and she's going to speak as the guest main speaker of this rally of hope. Please join and tune in. This is something that will not only blow your mind, but will really give us a great hope for the future. So
Right.
thank you so much for joining. And please like and subscribe to Boy Boys America if you haven't subscribed. And in behalf of my family, this is Ria Luz, and thank you, Glenda.
Thank you.
Ingrid, do you have
Thank
anything else
you.
to say?
Thank you, Ingrid. We'll stay in
Thank you,
touch. Bye,
everybody.
everybody. Thank you for being out. Bye.
God bless
Bye.
you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.